What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL video. And right when I got word of Antonio Brown making $17 million a year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, now the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, going over AJ Green's mark of $15 million, now Antonio Brown will make $17 million a year, a wide receiver. $17 million a year, and that's not like he doesn't deserve it, because Antonio Brown is absolutely fantastic and a great player and arguably a future Hall of Famer. But I'm here to tell you today that you don't need a Hall of Fame or All-Pro wide receiver to win the Super Bowl. You simply do not need a top-tier wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. Top-tier wide receivers don't equal Super Bowls. I'm going to give you the last 17 Super Bowl champions as fact, as why I believe that you don't need a top-tier wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. The last 17 Super Bowl champions. I'm going to go through their team. I'm going to look at their best wide receiver, their best target, and tell you whether they were an All-Pro, Hall of Famer, or a Pro Bowler, and then discuss why you do not need a top-tier wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. And that is why I feel like teams overpay for some of these top playmakers when they could spend it in other more important areas like defense, quarterback, or spread it out. Let's start off in 2000, where the Baltimore Ravens dominated the league with defense. They did so with their top target being their tight end, not even a wide receiver. Their tight end, Shannon Sharp, was their top receiver with around 900 yards that season, and they were built around defense. They ran the ball effectively on offense. They used their tight end in the passing game, and they played amazing, top-tier, greatest of all time-ish defense. In 2001, the New England Patriots did have one Pro Bowl wide receiver, believe it or not, and his name is Troy Brown. Troy Brown was a very effective wide receiver for the Patriots, often lining up in the slot for Tom Brady in his early career, and he was a pretty effective punt returner, a very versatile player, and I love him to death. But Troy Brown is not a Hall of Famer, and he's certainly never been an All-Pro. The Patriots in 2001 were a team built around their defense, making plays on defense, forcing turnovers on defense, and their offense was very balanced and played good football on that side of things, protected the football, and made plays when they needed to win the Super Bowl. In 2002, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their top wide receiver was Keyshawn Johnson. He did not make the Pro Bowl, and he was not an All-Pro that season, and we certainly know that Keyshawn Johnson is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, again, were a team built around their defense, which was one of the greatest of all time, if not, the greatest of all time. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a revolutionary Tampa 2 style of defense that really took over the league that season and had an offense that was just complementary to that fact. They didn't need a top-tier wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. Deion Branch was the best receiver in 2003 and the best receiver in 2004. Now, did Deion Branch win the Super Bowl MVP in the Super Bowl 39 against the Philadelphia Eagles? Yes, he did, and he was very crucial to that success. But was Deion Branch a Pro Bowler? No. Was Deion Branch an All-Pro? No. Is Deion Branch a Hall of Famer? Certainly no. Is Deion Branch a very good receiver that was underpaid? Yes. The Patriots were a team in 2003 and 2004 that were fueled by a great defense, one of the best in the NFL, and had very good balance on the offensive side of the ball. They could throw the ball deep with Tom Brady, they could run the ball with Corey Dillon and Antoine Smith, and they're a very effective short passing game with multiple receivers and targets to go to. But they did not have an Antonio Brown. In 2005, the Pittsburgh Steelers, that Antonio Brown now plays for, had a wide receiver by the name of Hines Ward. Did he make the Pro Bowl? No. Was he an All-Pro? No. Was he a very good receiver? Yes. Was he underrated? Yes. Did he make the Pro Bowl? No. So, that being said, the Steelers won on what? Oh, really? Defense and running the football. Hines Ward was a complimentary piece in 2005. He was clutch for then second-year pro Ben Roethlisberger and was a big part of that passing offense. He was the number one target, but he was not a Pro Bowler, and he didn't get an accolade for being an All-Pro. Now, is Hines Ward arguably a Hall of Famer? Maybe. He does certainly have the statistics. Would I put him in that conversation as one of the greatest receivers of all time? No, but he does have the statistics to go in the conversation to being in the Hall of Fame. So one day we will see. But the Pittsburgh Steelers of 2005 didn't have an All-Pro and didn't have a Pro Bowler. In 2006, the lone exception to the rule, the Indianapolis Colts of 2006 featured 2 Pro Bowl receivers and 1 All-Pro in Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Both of these guys are considered Hall of Fame wide receivers, and they had a Hall of Fame quarterback in Peyton Manning. But what a lot of people seem to forget about the 2006 Colts is that their playoff run was fueled by the running attack on offense and by a great defense. Yes, I said it. The Colts in 2006, especially in that playoff run, had a very good defense. They didn't let up many points against the Ravens or the Chiefs. They completely shut them down. And when it came to the Super Bowl against the Chicago Bears, they absolutely dominated. They got a pick 6, and they only let up 1 touchdown the whole game. The other touchdown was actually Devin Hester's kick return. So the Colts defense in 2006 was the reason why that team went from regular season juggernaut to Super Bowl champion. Because remember, in 2005, 2004, 2003, and so on, the Colts were always a great regular season team, but they needed that defense to get over the hump. Once they got that defense, it was game over from there. The Colts won the Super Bowl championship, and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne were along for the ride, along with Peyton Manning in that playoff run, minus the AFC Championship game. In 2007, the New York Giants defeated the New England Patriots. Crazy game, all-time classic. Of course, this is the 18-1 Patriots now that we discuss. But the Giants won that game without a Pro Bowl receiver and without an All-Pro receiver and certainly without a Hall of Famer. Plaxico Burress was their top receiver. Surprisingly, he never made a Pro Bowl in his career, but in 2007, he was their top target. He was the guy that got the game-winning touchdown in that game. And was he a very good receiver? Yes. Was he maybe a little bit underrated? Yes. But what was the Giants team built around? It was built around a very strong rushing attack that kept opponents off balance with multiple running backs. They had a deep passing game with Eli Manning and Plaxico Burress. And on defense, they had one of the greatest pass rushes I've certainly ever seen. And that's why they won the Super Bowl in 2007. In 2008, the Pittsburgh Steelers, once again, the team that Antonio Brown does play for now, had Santonio Holmes and Hines Ward. Hines Ward got more receptions and more catches, but Santonio Holmes was also the big play guy, so I wanted to include him here. Both those receivers did not make the Pro Bowl, and they did not make an All-Pro in 2008. What the Steelers had in 2008 is, I want you to guess. Oh, it was a great defense. But the Steelers did have a great defense, and they carried that team all the way till the Super Bowl, where Big Ben was able to make some plays against the Cardinals and seal their championship. But did the Steelers have an All-Pro receiver? No. In 2009, the New Orleans Saints, their best receiver was Marquise Colston. Was Colston a good receiver? Yes, certainly. Was he an All-Pro that season? No. Was he a Pro Bowler? No. So the trend continues. Marquise Colston, a guy that was maybe a little bit underrated, was drafted very late, came into the Saints, had a couple of breakout years, and in 2009, he was ready along with Drew Brees and a phenomenal offense and a sneaky underrated defense that caused a lot of turnovers, including the Tracy Porter pick 6 against Peyton Manning, won the championship in 2009 for Drew Brees' only Super Bowl thus far. In 2010, the Green Bay Packers featured one Pro Bowl receiver, Greg Jennings. They also had a number of other targets that were coming into their own, like Jordy Nelson. Aaron Rodgers was coming into his own as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Their defense had a great pass rush with Clay Matthews. They were a little undervalued when it came to the regular season. They got hot in the playoffs and they won the Super Bowl. Did they have a Pro Bowl receiver? Yes. Was Greg Jennings an All-Pro? No. Is Greg Jennings a Hall of Famer? No. Greg Jennings did make the Pro Bowl, and this is one of the lone exceptions to the Pro Bowl rule, but the Packers did win the Super Bowl that year, and I think it was more than just Greg Jennings. In 2011, the New York Giants featured two very good receivers that season. Victor Cruz broke out this season and had 1,500 yards receiving. He did not even make the Pro Bowl, which is shocking. He was not an All-Pro, and he is not a Hall of Famer. Hakeem Nicks did not make the Pro Bowl and did not make the All-Pro team, and he's certainly not going to make the Hall of Fame. But what both of these guys were in 2011 were very good receivers and complementary to each other. Victor Cruz was a great slot receiver that was really coming into his own this season. He had a few really good seasons for the Giants before getting injured. Hakeem Nicks was a very physical, strong guy that could go up and make big catches at key times for the Giants. The Giants, though, were a team that was fueled by their defense, a team in the playoffs especially that was fueled by their defense and their pass rush once again. Like the 2007 season, that's the reason why they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in the 2012 Super Bowl. The Giants, though, during the regular season, Eli Manning had a career year in 2011, still, in my opinion, his best season ever. But when it came down to it, the defense won them the Super Bowl. In 2012, the Baltimore Ravens featured two receivers that were both very good, Anquan Boldin and Torrey Smith. Both played, similar to the Giants, different roles. Anquan Boldin was the possession receiver, and Torrey Smith was the deep threat. Ray Rice was their number one guy in both their running game and their passing game. He was absolutely excellent in 2012 and was one of the biggest reasons why they made it to the Super Bowl. Also, they were playing off the fact that this was Ray Lewis's last year, his last ride, and there was a lot of momentum and just passion to win this Super Bowl in 2012. But ultimately, the Baltimore Ravens did that. They won the Super Bowl with Anquan Boldin having a fabulous playoff run. But did they make the Pro Bowl? No. Were they an All-Pro? No. Boldin is, I guess, in the debate to be a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he'll get in. So the 2012 Ravens did not have any of these three things. In 2013, the Seattle Seahawks certainly did not have a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, or Hall of Famer on their roster. Doug Baldwin, this was the first season of relevance. Percy Harvin was actually their number one receiver, but was hurt for much of the season. He had a nice punt return, if I can remember correctly, in the Super Bowl, but, wasn't too effective as a receiver. If you remember correctly, the Seattle Seahawks were a Legion of Boom-led team. This was a team with one of the greatest defenses of all time and certainly one of the best of the modern era, and was carried by that, their run game with Marshawn Lynch, and a young quarterback that could make plays with his legs in Russell Wilson. In 2014, the New England Patriots did not send a receiver to the Pro Bowl. They did send a tight end to the Pro Bowl and the All-Pro team with Rob Gronkowski. But since we're talking about receivers, we have to leave Gronk out of this conversation. Julian Edelman was the top receiver for the Patriots. The reason why he didn't make the Pro Bowl is unknown. He probably should have at least one of these seasons so far, but he did not. And that continues the trend of the Patriots not needing a Pro Bowl receiver to win the Super Bowl. Not a Pro Bowler, not an All-Pro, and certainly not a Hall of Famer. Amendola was very good this season. Brandon LaFell was even very good this season. They had a number of running backs to go to. They were a very good offense. They had a very balanced defense with a number of playmakers, including Darrelle Revis for one season. They won the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks, and they were a team that their identity was an offense with a number of different weapons, but they didn't have an All-Pro wide receiver. In 2015, the Denver Broncos had two Pro Bowl receivers, but if you remember correctly, Von Miller and the defense was the reason why they even got in the playoffs in the first place. They could barely score points in the regular season. Peyton Manning was throwing pick after pick after pick, and they got in with the first seed. They made it to the Super Bowl with their defense carrying them along the way, battering guys like Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, and Cam Newton on their way to the Super Bowl win, with Von Miller ultimately winning the Super Bowl MVP. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are excellent receivers, both Pro Bowl talents, and I believe Demaryius Thomas has been an All-Pro, but don't quote me on that. But in this season in 2015, they were both Pro Bowlers, but not All-Pros, and certainly not Hall of Famers. In 2016, the New England Patriots had Julian Edelman, and of course this season, no Rob Gronkowski for most of the run. Edelman did not make the Pro Bowl, and he was not an All-Pro this season, and he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. What they did have in the Patriots was the number one scoring defense, along with Tom Brady, Edelman, versatile running backs, an improved offensive line, and great coaching. Along the fact that Tom Brady is playing maybe the best football of his life, the Patriots did not need an elite wide receiver to win the Super Bowl. A very good one, yes. An elite one, no. So if we go over this in rewind, there have only been 4 teams with Pro Bowl receivers to win a Super Bowl in the past 17 Super Bowls, and there's only been one team with an All-Pro or Hall of Fame talent receiver to win the Super Bowl in the past 17 years. So that shows you that Antonio Brown being paid $17 million a year, while he might deserve it, is it worth it? Do you think that an All-Pro receiver or a Hall of Fame talent like Antonio Brown is worth the money? It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Let me know if an All-Pro, Hall of Fame, or Pro Bowl receiver is really worth the money. Would you rather spend it elsewhere, or do you think Antonio Brown is the difference that you need to win a Super Bowl? In my opinion, I think the facts show me and the history shows me, in this day and age in the NFL, with the salary cap, you do not need a Hall of Fame talent receiver to win a Super Bowl. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.